I want to chat to you about concierge, head concierge, chief concierge. I read an article that calls you a chef concierge. So maybe let's start there. What are you first? Are you a chef concierge? Are you a chief concierge? Are you a head concierge? Let's start there.
Firstly, and I just want to say it's such a huge honor and a privilege to be on your podcast, and I think it's long overdue. I think it's overdue that we sort of delve into the mind of a hotelier, and I appreciate you coming all the way out here. So the pleasure's all mine.
Thank you.
So my role is actually the front office manager and the chef concierge.
So it is chef.
Chef concierge. And chef, of course, meaning chief in French. Chief concierge. Okay. It does sound fancy. It's French. It sounds good, but it's all pretty much the same role. And, it's truly incredible because I have a dual management role. Mm-hmm. So, you were saying all these kind of titles, and I'm just thinking about all the responsibilities and all the things that I've been doing.
Just sitting with you before we started, and how your phone is buzzing. Yeah. Everybody seems to be asking you a lot of things. So I know you are the guy on top in terms of customer care and looking after customers, and that's something you should be proud of. I'm sure it's an honor for you. You look like the kind of person that enjoys being a chef concierge. So maybe the backstory of Masood before the chef concierge. Who was Masood before the chef concierge role that you are proudly holding up here at the Saxon and representing in the industry? So before all of this, who was Masood?
Well, thank you very much. And I don't think a lot of people kind of know sort of like my upbringing and how I fell in love with hospitality, and of course with the hotels in particular. Coming from Cape Town and kind of growing up on the beach, and I've always lived like a super adventurous life in Cape Town. I bodyboarded and I skateboarded, and this I kind of started in high school in grade 9. When a friend introduced me, he took me to Muizenberg Beach, and from then I think the rest is history. And I was staying in the southern suburbs, and I used to visit the surf shop quite often called Sport and Surf.
All right.
And I used to go in there all the time. And I always had a natural inclination to be full of life, always like positive. And I think even in my youth. And the manager said there, he's like, you're so full of life. You come here every weekend to come check out like all the cool surf gear, the skate gear. Like we're actually looking for like a few casual part-time employees. Don't you want to come work with us? I said yes, done. And then I kind of worked. I worked on weekends whilst I was in matric, and then that was kind of my first experience with like customers. And I know it's like flip-flops and skateboards and wetsuits and all, but it was amazing because I kind of instantly at like 18 years old like built this connection with people, and I think that's when I realized that I do have a natural ability to have that people skills. What permanent employment straight out of school taught me was like to have new skills. And to realize like what kind of like skills do you have, what natural abilities do you have. And I knew that I was really good with people at a young age, and I wanted to invest in that. And travel and tourism was kind of like a bit vague to me because all I knew back then was like, okay, I'm going to be a travel agent, or and that's all I knew.
Sounds very familiar, I think.
But then I visited a few hotels, and I visited a few hotel schools.
Which ones?
And I was intrigued. I went to it was the Western.
Yeah.
And I met some.
Just walked in.
I met some students.
Yeah.
Some hotel students came to YDE.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what do you do? Oh, we got chatting. Then I did it a little bit. I was like, wow, all this, suited and booted, and you're kind of taking my customer service up to the next level because it's super professional and you're working in the industry. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how many hotels are there in the world? That's how much opportunity there is for me. And then I kind of like stuck. I chose hospitality. So the next year I went to hotel school. I attended the Institute for Hospitality Education of South Africa, where I did an international diploma for a year. But there was something that I did that was truly incredible, because I saw what university students or college students dropping out of school, what it did. I said, I can't waste my parents' money around like that. So when I was working at YDE, I saved my own money. And I pretty much, my dad will take a little bit of credit, but I paid for my own school fees. And it was through the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears that I went to college with a completely different mindset. I attended every single lecture. I attended everything. And I was sort of studying part-time and working as well. So what I was learning theoretically, I was doing practically, and vice versa. But I think that changed the course of my life. Because from a young age, I had a mindset that life owes you nothing. Life is not going to be handed to me on a silver platter. I need to go out and I need to fight for every drop of milk, every slice of bread, every rand. I have to earn that. And that's what sacrifice taught me. Because if I'm paying for my own college fees, I'm not going to mess my own money around.
Nobody
and it was something. Even if I look back today, it's something I'm so proud of, because it changed the course of my life and the way I view life. And I believe that from a young age, everything has to be earned, and you have to work hard for it. So, hotel school was super incredible. I learned an awful lot. I made some fantastic friends along the way, many of whom I still am in contact with up until today.
Yeah.
And then these two general managers from the Red Carnation Hotels, they came to do a presentation at the hotel school. Two South African guys that was working in London. And I gave my CV and I went through the due processes. I almost didn't get the job in London. So after being persistent and not giving up, and I said to them, just tell me no. Yeah. I just want to know where I'm standing. And then I got the job. I earned a 2-year visa. It's kind of like a working sort of visa where I did like a 2-year management program in London. So I moved to, that was my first official job in a hotel under Red Carnation.
Yeah.
And I subsequently spent almost 11 years with him. So
11 years, not in London.
So 2 years in London. And that was amazing because when I moved to London, I was 21 years old.
Yeah, I was about to ask what year.
And again, I was in London, it's like, wow, I got myself here. It was so incredible.
By yourself?
And by myself. And it's something I was really proud of because I worked hard, And the Montague on the Gardens Hotel, which is in Bloomsbury, in Montague Street, just around the corner from the British Museum. And Dirk Rocard is the general manager. And up until today, I have so much admiration for him because he was a fantastic man, a fantastic hotelier. And, I will always have utmost respect for him because he really gave me all the opportunity to become the best version of myself, especially at 21 years old. Mm. And you can imagine when you're 21, London was it was the most incredible city to live in when you're 21, 22 years old. So I also realized that I didn't want to be persistent and think to myself, well, do I push and stay longer in London? Because my heart is in South Africa, and I came back, and it's a funny thing because after my 2-year work experience in London, we had this Red Carnation. They had this annual gala dinner, staff appreciation party, and it is absolutely out of this world.
Is this the one where they bring in everybody from everywhere and they fly everybody in?
Exactly. And
I don't know where I've seen it, but I've seen it.
It is truly something super incredible.
Mm.
And then I have to.
The hosting guys usually wait for the bus.
Exactly. It is so incredible. It's truly fantastic. And then at the time, I met Clive Bennett.
Yeah.
In Cape Town, he was the general manager, and then he became the managing director.
I've never met him, but I know of him.
he's a big guy. And he's super imposing. And it was daunting because I had to go up to him and introduce myself and tell him that I'm coming home and obviously I'd love to work in Cape Town. So I actually applied for the sales and marketing coordinator position.
Why did you do that?
I felt that it was something that I wanted to get into. But the universe has other plans.
Yeah.
And I did not get that job. And Clive Bennett told me, and I must say that I have absolutely huge admiration for Clive Bennett because he is a fantastic hotelier, fantastic leader, and an incredible human being. So I got a job as the guest relations officer. And he said to me, Masood, don't worry. Work in Cape Town, get some experience, and study. So it was amazing because I'd secured a job before I got home, which was amazing. So I didn't take a break. I came straight in from London, straight into the 12 Apostles Hotel, where I subsequently spent 8 years and 9 months.
What year was this now?
That was in 2008.
Okay.
And an amazing team, a fantastic team. I mean, I have to say that I wouldn't be the professional I am today if it wasn't for 12 Apostles Hotel. They gave me all the recognition, they gave me all the opportunities, they gave me a perfect platform for me to truly demonstrate my qualities. And I will always be an ambassador to Red Carnation, Mrs. Tolman and the family, because they are truly a phenomenal hotel group. And I have the utmost respect for that entire team. And so I studied, I did a short course. Oh, by the way, when I was in London, I studied in London. I did a management course, a small certificate in team leading and management.
Red Carnation.
Within Red Carnation at
so
Chelsea.
One of the hotel group management
So
programs that they run.
Exactly. So it's like the Chelsea and Kensington College and the Chartered Management Institute. So it was all about opportunity, but you have to put yourself out there, And then
what was it? Was it a 2-year program?
It was a 2-year program where I basically worked in all different departments. But I knew.
So by the time you got the job back in South Africa, you had completed that program.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I kind of have an idea how it was so easy for you to come back, having secured a job.
Exactly.
You were in London. Had done 2 years of this sort of cross management training. You then put your hand up for further learning, your own learning and development. You completed it. I mean, anybody in South Africa who has a South African willing to come back with that much experience at that early age, I'm pretty sure they were just as excited to get you back as you were excited to land that job.
I think so because I think Mrs. Tolman, the owner of Red Carnation, she wanted to send young South Africans to England, and she wanted us to all get experience so that we can bring that same quality back into the South African hospitality sector. It is really genius, and it's a masterstroke really because. When I first moved to London, I saw these tall gentlemen. Oh, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. It was so intriguing. It was so fantastic. And I.
Were you not intimidated at all?
I wasn't intimidated at all. I just kind of thought, well, let me try and emulate some of those principles. Not the accent. Definitely not the accent. But it was something. Just imagine, I'd never been overseas before. So to see this British proper style of hospitality was truly incredible. And it was something that was so inspiring because that was the level that I wanted to reach in terms, not in their ways or the accent, but just that style that you're taking your job as a hotelier professionally. Because I saw and experienced Chef Concierges who were 60 plus years old, who had 40 years experience. And this is something very important to note is that in Europe and America and maybe in some other parts of the world, it is considered a success story if you are a chef concierge, chief concierge for your whole career. There's no one sees
There's no shame in it.
There's no shame.
You don't have any ambition. You're not striving for anything.
Absolutely.
Which could be a narrative here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's perceived as a stepping stone, so to speak.
Let me just explain what is, in a very brief form, what is a chef concierge, and then what does it take to become one?
Okay. So thank you very much. I think it's an excellent question because I think the concierge, just as a concept and as a job, is a very mysterious thing.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say from a functional point of view.
Yeah.
So a concierge is one who knows his city. He knows the restaurants. He knows where the best places are. He knows where he or she knows where the hidden gems are in the city. A concierge is someone who actually uses their time to go out and connect and network with people, from art galleries to restaurants to theatre.
Yeah.
So the concierge would be the one who's going to get you a ticket to a sold-out show.
Yeah.
He's going to get you that last table in that coveted restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's through years of hard work and networking that we have access to those kind of experiences. Then, of course, at the hotel, we recommend things to our guests, what to do, where to go, and managing the porters, doormen, however your setup is, and just engaging with guests on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I think that's a very basic way of explaining concierge.
Access is a big thing.
Yeah.
So you need to have access to industry peers that you can actually send them to places, and you can break those barriers unfold.
Yeah.
But Masood is going to still get that table.
Yeah.
Still going to get that entry to go to whatever the show is. So access is a big thing. And how do you establish that? So what does it take to become this top-notch concierge who's got a strong network, who's got access? You pick up the phone, you say it, and it's done.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
Right? What does it take to become that person?
So
in the context of hotels and
absolutely, and that's a very pertinent question because, again, like I said, it takes years and years of hard work and networking. But I can't just leave it there.
Yeah.
Like for example, in Cape Town,
yeah.
If we knew or identified that there was a place that we knew that was going to be a hot seller, a place that's in demand, I would actually drive to the place and introduce myself and say, hey, my name's Masood, this is where I'm from. A concierge has access to guests that are going to spend money. So when a stranger comes in, when a guest comes into a city that they've never been before, of course they're going to confide in me and they're going to listen to my recommendations. So these companies understand that. Like, for example, go to a restaurant, they're wanting to just have a dinner, and then, they pull one of the best bottles out of the cellar. And that's because of me. So they realize that. So there are lots of companies who understand the value of a concierge because they're going to listen to my recommendation. And that's a very important thing because when a guest goes into a country that they've never been, they're going to rely on the local expert, my expertise, my knowledge. And through building personal relationships with companies, inviting them over, having a site inspection, dinner, or whatever the case may be, however you want to reciprocate, because of course it goes both ways. So it is that human element, that personal touch.
Yeah.
That gives you access because you're not just some guy that's picking up the phone and saying, oh, I want a table. They actually see, if I make all the effort to take my car in my personal time, using my money, they know, they can see this guy is taking his job seriously.
And there's something to it.
Absolutely.
Why is he coming here to find out about this restaurant, this
100%.
hot spot? And
when you are because a concierge is very charming and witty, and he's very he's got this fantastic charisma about him or her, and we use that to our advantage. I mean, we don't manipulate people, but I want to use my skills that I have because I want that table, because I know that that's an in-demand destination. So if I call, I want to ensure that I get that table. So it is the personal touch. It's going out of your way. Like, for example, when I moved to Johannesburg, I spent a year, every single week on my days off, learning about the city.
So going to places.
Yes, I've been to Marboning, I've been to Apartheid Museum, I've been everywhere. I met everybody. And I shared one, and they were so blown away because nobody does that. So I always say this, it's one of the philosophies that I live by. If you do what no one else is doing, you are going to achieve things that no one else will.
True.
And that's kind of like my attitude towards being a concierge, because, if I want to be a concierge, I want to be the best concierge. And that's just maybe a personal thing too. But it allows me to have access so that my guests can experience the best that my city has to offer. And I just want to go back quickly when you mentioned that what is a concierge, and I spoke about the functional things. And I want to touch on not the philosophical point of view, but just something a bit more profound.
Yeah.
The concierge curates experiences for strangers that will etch these beautiful memories that they will never ever forget. Now this is something that's so profound. This goes above and beyond what a job is. Picking up the phone, booking online tickets. It goes above and beyond what a concierge does. And what's very important to understand about the concierge is that we can do anything and everything as long as it's humanly possible, and as long as it's ethical, and as long as it's legal. Because this is very important, because these things are not discussed enough. For example, a guest asks you for an unsavory request. And your attitude is now, I want to go the extra mile, I want to go, but what are the parameters? So it's very important that I highlight, as long as it's humanly possible, as long as they can afford it, that they've got the budget for it, and as long as it's ethical and legal, it's possible.
Listen, I can imagine I cannot ask you for the details of unsavory requests, but I can certainly ask you if you've had them. Do you think there is a misconception by certain clients and people that concierges are there for you to ask them to do all sorts of things? Is that a misconception to some degree?
Most definitely. There's no question about that. Because a guest will know that the concierge has access to almost everything. And I say almost as the T's and C's to ethical. No, and it's true. And I've certainly received that in the past. And I respectfully decline. Ayanda, I'm afraid that's a service I'm not able to assist you on this occasion. And it's very respectful.
It's an awkward moment.
It's an awkward moment, but you know what? And I believe that this is one of the most fundamental and important principles as a concierge. And not only as a concierge, as a hotelier. And that is integrity. And that is doing the right thing when no one is watching. Do you know what integrity does for you, Ayanda? Integrity gives you longevity. It gives you sustainability. Right? If you're going to offer me 10,000 Rand to do something that's unsavory, I might be throwing my entire career away, 18 years down the drain for 10,000 Rand. Who knows what I can achieve in the future?
Correct.
So why would you want to jeopardize your career for a quick fix? And this is maybe a message to everybody.
Especially the young and chef concierges.
And 100%.
People maybe that still need to get to a certain level of maturity and confidence. Because you need confidence to have an awkward conversation with the customer, asking him for something.
And can I tell you something?
Unsavory.
The guest will respect you because you have integrity. Because first and foremost, you are representing the company. But on a human level, you are also expressing who you are in your human values. And this is of the utmost importance. Because why would you throw your entire career down the line for a quick fix? And And the thing is, like, I'm not blind to the fact that I know that life is incredibly difficult. But we have to endure the difficulty through integrity to rise to the top.
100%. I'm just interested, for example, restaurants, do they value the most in comparison to art galleries or fashion design companies, specifically for a brand like this, which is a niche luxury market type of business, very high end? Who values you the most out there from a stakeholder perspective, the people that you send clients to?
Well, and I think you know this, and I think it's we share the same experiences because we both worked in Cape Town and in Johannesburg. Cape Town is an easy sell, right? And I was an absolute superstar there because all the companies knew that we would send all our guests to specific places. So it's very hard to say because it was also my home where I knew people personally, and it was amazing to always have these phenomenal experiences and never having to absolutely get invited to all these experiences. The dynamic in Joburg is very different because and this is very important to note, is that Joburg, I wouldn't say it's a hard sell, right? The problem is the preconception that the guest can't leave these four walls, which is absolutely not true. And it was a challenge moving here from an easy sell like Cape Town and Dubai, for example, because of that safety element. So I told myself not to overwhelm myself. I said, I'm going to change perceptions one guest at a time. And that's something I'm really proud of because the experiences that you have in Johannesburg is very authentic. It's a melting pot of culture and tradition and history. I mean, from the Apartheid Museum to Soweto to Maboneng to downtown, it is just fantastic. And our guests want to experience that. They don't want to necessarily experience the same things that they have back home. So I think, obviously, because of my maturity and obviously I'm added the responsibilities as a front office manager, I wouldn't say that I was as active as I was in Cape Town. Maybe in my younger days, where I was always out, always going to experience restaurants and so forth. So it's kind of different, but I would say that the respect is absolutely there, without a shadow of a doubt. And I know that there are companies in Johannesburg that will do anything and everything for me because they know who I am as a professional. They know who I am as a brand. They know the huge value that is attached with the Saxon in its reputation for excellence, for integrity, for hard work, and it's very difficult to pinpoint one particular company. But it's very important to note also that I try and always keep it proudly South African. That's something that's very important for me because I believe in empowering local businesses. That's a very important.
Do you find that easy with your dominant markets, the people that come to this hotel the most, to promote local attractions and local tourism? Is it easy because of the international market that comes here?
Yeah.
I know it's not just international customers that stay at the Saxon, but is it easy because of that market?
I think that the concept of the consumer has changed, and I've seen a huge change, and I've seen guests wanting to engage in real experiences. They want to purchase something that has a story. They want to buy a necklace or a bracelet or an ornament where there was 3 different people that made it, and they know that they're going to be supporting a community, a family, and there's almost a I wouldn't say a sentimental attachment to the consumer wanting wholehearted experiences, where they know that their money is going to make a difference. And it's such a beautiful thing in actual fact, because you can imagine in all my career being a concierge, I am guiding guests where to spend their money, in essence. Like they're parting with their money and I'm showing them where to part with their money. So when you do that and you hear about the experience when you come back, you learn about how they consume and what they consume, what they spend their money on. So of course, I always kind of like thought about those experiences. And so 100% they want to buy Bridal South African, which is kind of why I came home from Europe and from the Middle East. I want Mzansi to experience the best of what Masood is as a professional. I think the country deserves that, and I think it's local is lekker.
Okay, so talking about the Saxon, let's talk more about the Saxon in general. I mean, it's obviously an incredible hotel. We're here today. I mean, look at this beautiful setting.
We just wanted to make sure you had just about enough space.
I hope it doesn't mess up my audio, all of this echo, and we'll complain to management. No, but beautiful place. I have been here once as a guest, and it was many years ago. We chatted earlier. It was an anniversary. At the time, you had the 500. Was it called the 500? The restaurant. It's now Great. That's right, 100%. We had your usual fancy football 7-course meal. Everything with a wine pairing. Just an amazing, out of this world experience. It was one night. But my wife and I tried to max it out. And I think we went to bed as late as possible because it was such an amazing experience. And I'm pretty sure that's what customers are receiving today, and that's what they're enjoying today. But just tell me more about the hotel. What is it that's special about the hotel for you?
That's a great question. When I started here 6 years ago, I always knew that the Saxon was a very successful, hotel, and in the way that they have this unique way of offering hospitality. And I had the pleasure and the privilege of staying here a few times before I worked here. I also came for dinner as well. So I kind of got an experience prior to working, and I was much like yourself.
Yeah.
I was a guest,
and
it was something truly remarkable for me. Because I think first and foremost, it was our owner's home before, and of course there's a deep-rooted history with Nelson Mandela.
So the owners actually lived here as their residents?
Yes, correct. Yeah, the Steyn family. And so this is like the legacy, and with Mr. Cohen at the helm, and I obviously met him in a personal capacity prior. I knew that I was going to be starting work at a successful company. So my vision was not to come in and chop and change. This is like a bullet train on its way to success. All I had to do was board the train. And we call that the Saxon way. It's the Saxon way. It's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. It's a business philosophy. And it's about being excellent in everything that we do. And I thought to myself, well, I have experience. I have worked in a few cities before, so let me add my value to what is already in existence.
Yeah.
And that worked like a charm, because I wasn't going to kind of go in this direction and that direction, because you don't fix something that's not broken. And we have, it's the funniest thing, we have a very simplistic way of operating as a business. And I think that boils down to our owners who care about us dearly. I would actually go as far as to say that they love all the staff here. They treat us with the utmost respect and kindness. We have Mr. Cohen at the helm, who is truly, there's no words to describe him, to be fair. You'd probably have to create your own language to describe his attributes as both a professional and as a human being.
Is a brand, himself. He's
of course.
A well-known industry leader.
Absolutely.
I've never met the guy. I've never seen him. I've dealt with him on email. I think he assisted me with this booking that I'm talking about many years ago.
Yeah.
But you hear of him, and that's the amazing thing about our industry, is that you hear of industry experts and legends that you've never actually met, and they live within the industry amongst us. They get things moving. They are responsible for amazing, products like these, but you never sometimes get to actually meet them. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I want to tell you, a few things that he said in the staff party, and it absolutely blew me away. The first thing he said was, let me just take a step back. Mr. Cohen's job is to look after us. Full stop. That's his role. His role is to look after his team. So when I feel and when we feel empowered and appreciated and when we feel valued, we cannot give bad service. Because what is important to understand is that your personality in hospitality is your job. And your personality is directly linked to your emotion. So when you work in a space where you feel empowered, you feel important, you feel like you are part of something so great, you cannot give bad service. Because you, and it's sort of like, because of the structure of the company and they take such fantastic care of us, we take fantastic care of our guests. I think Richard Branson said the same thing. And we are a sort of a manifestation of that core business philosophy and principle.
I love that. I think it resonates with me on a personal level because that's my style. I'm not saying it's original, as in I created it and then it became my style. I'm saying that I endorse it, I appreciate it, I live by it. It's been in existence for ages, looking after your own first. I mean, I always say if you can't look after your own staff and colleagues in this industry, you are not fit to look after guests. You can't look after guests. So you need to be able to look after your own people first. And I measure that by when industry peers and colleagues come and stay with me at my hotel, how I look after them. And I tell my team, look after your own. That's how you know that you are fit to look after customer. You can look after your colleague, Masood, he's coming to stay with you, then you are well equipped to look after customers. So I live by that. I love it, I endorse it, and I genuinely believe it works. Let's go back to the Saxon, this beautiful place. So we're in this suite. What is the suite called?
This is one of our villa presidential suites. It's a 200 square meter suite.
So I thought you were going to say 200,000.
200 square meter suite.
200 square meter suite, villa presidential. So Ayanda decides on the 14th of February that he wants to take Neo out. Neo's my wife. And I want to bring her here. How much am I going to pay for this villa presidential?
This room will only set you back 29,000.
I love it. I love it. What do I get with that, Masood?
Bed and breakfast.
Okay.
Get a bottle of the Favre champagne.
Done. Okay, so I get that.
A fully stocked minibar.
Fantastic.
Which is fully free.
Okay. Let's get into that.
And of course, you have access to the spa facilities, the hydro facilities, the pools, gym.
Yeah. But should I want gelish, whatever, for Neo and
gelish,
90, I'm going to pay
manicure,
on top of that.
yes.
Yeah, of course, not in the 29,000.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Breakfast for two. And what is a breakfast here? Tell me about your spread. What am I going to enjoy with this breakfast inclusive, modest rate of yours?
So our breakfast offering kind of changed over COVID. We used to do this beautiful continental buffet and pastries and the cold meats and the cheese was fantastic.
A buffet.
Then of course, like COVID hit, and now the mask, and you couldn't touch the food. So we kind of we kind of changed the concept of how we wanted to offer breakfast. So we do the
inspired by COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's the wrong word. Maybe not the best choice of word.
So we kind of tweaked the offering where we offered the sort of buffet as little platters, like little fruits and little pastry baskets, and and the gorgeous main course, which is something truly fantastic. So we kind of changed things around it, but we still kept the quality. And I think it's very important to address this issue of rates and prices and 5-star and 7-star. And I want to share with you how we perceive value. Whether the suite is 95,000 Rand or, the Nelson Mandela suite, or whether it's 29,000 or 13,000 Rand for our standard room, whatever the case may be. Obviously, the price fluctuates depending on how busy we are. The spa, the bar, the restaurants, these are all aesthetics. If a guest wants a pool, there's 20 pools in Johannesburg, 15 spas. How many restaurants? A plethora of restaurants. But there's only one Masood. There's only one Mr. Cohen. There's only one, the butlers. And this is the thing, is that we are the value. We are the 5-star. We are the one that stimulates the guests through pampering and spoiling and recognition. We are the 5-star. This is very important because this does not get spoken about. It is we, the team, the cohesive team that sort of vibrates on the same wavelength. We all understand what the service standard is, and we are the value for money. So as the 90,000 Rand, I am the 90,000 Rand. Because that bed is not going to make them feel better than me making them feel important and pampered and giving
especially
them
if it's not made special the way that you make it.
Do you understand? So that's very and it's important for hoteliers to understand how much value they hold as a professional. Because like I said, everything else is, our aesthetics is state of the art, and it's beautiful and it's fantastic. But for one moment in a guest's experience here, they want to experience a part of me. They want to show me the pictures of when they went on safari or where they're going in Cape Town.
And how you interact with them while they're doing that.
Absolutely.
At your level, with your expertise and your experience.
Exactly.
Is the value.
That is the value. It's the most fantastic thing. It's like we're kind of like magicians, or I don't know what other word to use to describe this, but
I changed my LinkedIn profile recently, and the word architect came up, so I put it in there.
Yeah,
to say we architects of experiences.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping this one is going to stick, because I've changed my LinkedIn profile quite a few times, but this one has stuck with me. That we architects and experiences is what we do.
Absolutely. So it's important for hoteliers to understand that they are the value. And it's a very empowering thing as a professional to know that you do make a difference. You are making the guests feel welcome. They are feeling amazing. They're feeling pampered. That they're spending all their money with you and they're happy about it.
But you need to have that level of confidence, Masood, for you to know, first of all, that there's no questions about what you deliver. You need to have that confidence so that you understand and you get to the point where you truly believe, when you look at yourself in the mirror, that I'm the value.
Yeah.
So do you think a lack of confidence in what we do in comparison to other industries out there that deliver experience, that stimulates emotions through what they provide? So take, for example, Apple. They do these fancy phones that we all have, and we like the way they feel, the way they when we swipe the screen and the features, the apps and so forth. we don't look at ourselves as a prestigious Apple company that creates and evokes such emotions. Do you think maybe we lack the confidence in certain parts that not everybody's like Masood and has that level of confidence to look at themselves in the mirror and understand that I'm the 95,000. I'm the one that creates the value. I always say pricing and the perception of pricing and what's value and what's not value and how much something costs is subjective. It all depends on the person's experiences, how traveled they are, what they are used to, and their relationship with money, and how they feel when they part with that money, their experiences, their pedigree in terms of hospitality and hospitality offerings and services. It is subjective for the most part. So every time somebody says, you are expensive, I don't always panic. And I try to teach my friends and colleagues and peers and my team, don't panic. What you need to worry about is, can you put your head on the block for that price that the person is saying is expensive and say, well, you know what, I deliver this, I provide this. Yes, the aesthetics, your amenities and so forth, all of those things add to it. But this is the level at which you operate. So you're touching on such an important point, and I was going to try and get to it, not to just leave it open and me asking about the Saxon and how much they charge, as if, I'm one of those people that is looking at pricing in that way. I was going to circle back, but you did it before me, and I'm grateful for that. And you were much more probably eloquent than I was going to be in terms of the value part of it. I really like the way you put it, and I think it's something that needs to be spread far and wide to industry, young industry people upcoming, because people are aggressive when they point the finger and they say you are expensive, which then creates a certain perception about certain brands like yours. Like if we talk about 29,000 for this villa, and we go to local 25 to 35, 40-year-old who doesn't have that much money or is not that experienced in the industry, has not had a lot of times engaging with products and services and appreciating hospitality, they might think, it's ridiculous. I will never pay that. Why? It's a room. What else, could be in there? Because it's just a room. You talk about 200 square meters. Yeah. But it's a room, So it's a very important topic and a very important point. I like the way that you phrased it. You are the value, and we need to talk about that more. So, having said that, it's going to be a very long time before you get rid of the stigma that places like the Saxon are expensive. How then, let's leave our industry people. Let's call that the internal part of this discussion. Let's go outside and talk to our customers, potential customers, people that we want to invite. I talked about who are you focusing on in terms of client profile and all sorts of generations. Who is your focus in terms of clients? Let's talk about local tourism, domestic tourism, specifically after COVID, where we had to rely on domestic tourism a lot. I know the Saxon closed for a while, but you reopened after how many months?
Just about a year.
About a year, okay. So that's the decision that you took as management for whatever reason. Some hotels stayed open, tried to get whatever quarantine business that they could and so forth. But then as we opened or reopened, there was still not a lot of, or if any, international travel. We had to most of us had to look at domestic tourism, and not that we've never looked at it. It's a big focal point in an everyday life, but we all know that there's an excitement about the international market, because if you look at the exchange rate and their propensity to spend, we get excited. But when we talk about domestic tourism and a brand like this, how do you appeal to this person that I'm talking about? 25 to 35 to 40 who has not had that much experience with a brand like this and might be gobsmacked that you charge 29,000 rands for a room with breakfast and a bottle of bubbly. How do you have this value conversation with them through the means that we have? They're not staying here, they're out there. Maybe if you convince me, like how you've convinced me on the value discussion that we are having, you could convince them. Yeah. How would you go about doing that? Because I think there's a lot of perception and misperceptions about this value discussion. Mm. And there's a potential for us to speak to some potential clients and say, this is open to you, domestic, local, tourist. You can come and stay at the Saxon and have an exceptional time and appreciate it. And if you find yourself with some money put away from time to time to spoil yourself, it's actually okay because here's the value.
When we reopened after COVID, we knew, for example, that we needed to focus on the domestic market, which we did, which opened up a whole new market segment for us, which was exciting because all of a sudden we saw these young, affluent locals coming to stay with us from Cape Town, Joburg, Durban, Pretoria, everywhere around South Africa. Yeah. Because usually their breaks that they would usually take to Mauritius and all those lovely islands on the upper coast of Africa, they were like, well, we can't go there. Where can we go? Let's go to the Saxon. And it was so amazing because we wouldn't, I wouldn't say we wouldn't usually, welcome, but the volume of guests and clients and new saw a spike. Yeah. Absolutely. And again, those guests understood value. They didn't question the prices. We created fantastic packages for them. But I think the important thing was that they got to experience superior African hospitality at its finest. And it's something that we're very proud of because the local guests are our biggest ambassadors, so to speak. And we, as an iconic brand and as an iconic hotel, we needed to ensure that we maintained that superior offering and that superior service. And we don't discriminate or distinguish between local or international guests. It transcends that. Yeah. Every single guest, and this is also very important for every young hotelier to understand. Every single guest that is walking into your door is your salary. Every guest.
It's amazing. You speak about that. I had a staff monthly meeting, and for some reason I felt like saying that again, even though I've heard it so many times and I've said it so many times. I said it again because it was in context to the discussion I was having with them, just talking about the year ahead, and I found myself talking about the customer pays your salary in the way and the speech that I was giving to them. I would like to think it was well received, just looking at the faces of my people now that I know them after working with them for so many years. And it was just about a lot of things that we get told in the industry. Customers always right, which I view it in a different way, that statement. Customer is always right, yes, but there's a dependent, there's a but. As far as who pays your salary, I don't think there's a but there. and that's essentially what I said. I said, if you are messing with the customer, you are messing with your money. We can debate the customer's view and so forth internally. Obviously, there's ways that we present ourselves when we're dealing with the issue at hand and the customer. But back at the ranch, when we're debating the claim or the insinuation or the complaint or the comment, we debate, is the customer right here? But the one thing I wanted to make clear is that when it comes to who pays your salary, there's no question about that.
And it changes the mindset of the team. It changes the way they perceive guests. Yeah. And again, like I said, we have a history of welcoming every single guest from every part of the world with open arms. Yeah. And it is important, Ayanda, because just think about this for a second. They could have gone anyway, but they chose to come to you. Why? Why did they come to the Saxon? Why did they go to any other hotel? They chose that for a reason. So we almost have a professional and a moral obligation to ensure that every single guest gets the best experience. And we know that in reality, it's not always the case. And, and I'm sure many hoteliers will tell you the same thing, is that sometimes it's in complaints and where things don't always go well, that you create the best, most loyal guests after.
100%. Because most of the time,
it's the service recovery and them seeing that you care about them and that you're wanting to go the extra mile. You care about making things right. That you get the most loyal customers, because with all your marketing campaigns, like the word of mouth is still the most supreme form of marketing. Because when people speak about your brand and they speak about your company, they're going to express it on an emotional level. And that's something that's so deep and profound, because you will feel the story. I mean, like we can speak about our experience at the Saxon, we will speak about it on an emotional level, because it's how we made the guests feel. And this is the most human attribute, is that when you care for your guests and you show interest in them and you show that you are likable and you're approachable, that is really the magic.
Yeah, true.
Honestly, that is the essence of hospitality.
It's been a few years now, and I still remember as if it was yesterday. I think I actually went and got a gift, and I got a dress for my wife. I did one of those brave things where you go on your own and you buy
you chose the size and the color and the style. It was very brave.
Yeah, it worked, though, thankfully for me. I laid it out on the bed while she was showering. And every time I think of that stay, which is the only stay I've had here, I always remember that the dress laid out, and I wanted to sort of compliment this amazing place I was going to with the level of effort for the evening. And that's why we went to 500 and we had the meal. And we don't always do that when we go to hotels. Sometimes you go out and you just stay in the night and have breakfast, the next morning, and you go out to whatever hot restaurant is out there. But a hotel like this, when you stay, you want to go to a hotel restaurant, because hotel restaurants also have a stigma on their own in comparison to independent restaurants. Absolutely. And that's something that's said that I hope that we break away from. What is an over-the-top request that you've had as the Chef Concierge in this hotel?
We had a guest staying with us a couple of years ago. A very interesting guest, very incredible man. And it wasn't me personally, because I can't take
no, that's fine.
Credit for that. But listen to this. We had a guest that stayed with us in house that was eating the finest food, drinking the finest drinks. It was really out there. And he wanted Petrosian caviar, which you can only get in two places. I might be mistaken. Yeah. It's Paris and it's London.
Yeah.
We flew someone from London to get that Petrosian.
From London?
London.
Yeah.
To get that here. It came in a little a Petrosian like top bag.
How many nights was this top-notch?
He wanted it the next day. Like so say today, he wanted it the following day. And the only way, just imagine the density, the temperature, the complexities of being in dry ice and not going off. And we literally had to fly someone down with the Petrosian to get that Petrosian. It's the only way we could have done it. There was no way that we could have shipped that.
Jeez,
so
no
it's like I want caviar tomorrow.
Request.
I want
decided
right there
that he would like this Petrosian caviar.
It was something truly incredible, and I go back to when you ask me what a concierge does, and again I can't take any credit for that, but in its principle, if it's humanly possible, we can make it happen. And as a hotel, we do these like magical things that we take it like we lit it
out of this world.
When you say you with the extra bow,
you flew somebody from London overnight.
It is going the extra mile is an understatement.
Did you have this contact? Did you have to establish this contact and then say, hey, this is our predicament. Please will you do us a solid? This is what we need.
I think
this is how we're going to sort you out.
I think with Mr. Cohen and pulling all the strings and just using one of the contacts, and it doesn't matter who, it's about getting it done. And again, that's as a team, we all have our own qualities. We all have our own contacts. We are all unique in the way that we do things, how we do things. But together, it's what makes us so special, because we all have unique qualities. And I just want to touch on a principle that truly helps me as a hotelier.
Yeah.
And it's something that I teach when we do our induction with all our new starters. And this is especially for the young hoteliers. This is how I perceive service. When a guest is walking towards me, right, and is about to ask me a question, it might be a random question, it might be a complex itinerary, I tell myself, like mentally, I am going to show this guest how good I am. I am going to prove to myself that I am a world-class hotelier. Before I do it for the guest, before I do it for the company, I'm doing it for me. Now it's a personal thing. You will not let yourself down. Because when you change the dynamic on how you view the concept of service, I'm doing it for me. Every guest encounter that I have, I want to show how charming I am, how wonderful I am, how complimentary I am, how engaging I am, how approachable I am. I want to prove to myself how good I am. It is truly a phenomenal principle that I adopted in how I perceive service.
So a chef concierge needs to be a person who wants to have the highest of principles, the highest of standards. You need to be interested in the person that you are, the person that you want to be seen as in this world. Otherwise, you might miss the high quality performance that a chef concierge needs to deliver on a daily basis. If you're missing that drive to become the best, to be the best, I think there's some personality things that you need to get right for you to succeed in this role. You can't just be going through your life like every day and not be focused on yourself internally in terms of wanting to achieve, wanting to be successful, wanting to present, yourself, at the highest standard. So you need to start there first.
Yes. To be a successful concierge, and I'm trying to explain to make it really simple, but it's also profound. To be a successful hotelier, to be a successful concierge, you need to use your head and your heart. You need to marry your head and your heart. You need to marry your intellect with your passion to become an unstoppable force in nature. And I'll explain to you how we do it.
You need to marry your intellect
passion. With your passion. Your intellect is your intelligence, how you do things. You're moving. You have 5 different duties that you have to do. How do you prioritize thinking? You don't understand. And then the passion is the driver. It's like, they say you can't teach 2 things. You can't teach passion and common sense. No. You understand? And ironically, that's just the 2 ingredients that you need to be a successful hotelier. But I'm a very profound person, very spiritual person, a critical thinker. I like to analyze everything, and I also I'm a very deep person in, I believe, like I told you, like during my beginning, at the beginning of my career, is molding the mindset to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's important because you cannot rely on your feelings to get you through. And I want to touch on this because this is very important. So maybe your question would be, how am I so consistent every day? Like how? Like you stay at the top and you perform at peak level every day.
How do you do it?
I'll explain to you. So I'm going to open a different realm of how we perceive performance. In general, people's performance is linked to their emotion, which is why you get, Sally one day happy, one day sad, and Henry's one day, and David's up one, and that's why you get this, right? You get one day they're on top, and the next day it's like these extremes. So, what is important to become consistent is to detach your emotions from your performance. So irrespective of how I'm feeling when I wake up, it's irrelevant. I'm still going to go out in the day and I'm still going to perform, irrespective of how I'm
feeling. The person engaging with me, whether a colleague or a customer, will not know how I woke up.
If our room rates, right, was linked to our performance because it's linked to the emotions. One day is 29,000, the next day it's 7,000. One day it's like 50,000, the next day it's 3,000. You can't. Yeah. The prices doesn't change. Yeah. The expectation of the levels of service has to be the best. If I'm tired, or I'm moody, or I'm not in the mood to be at work, that's not the guest problem. I have to have the mental fortitude to be phenomenal every day. And there's a simple tool. It's a secret. You detach your emotions from your performance utterly and completely. That's what gives you the edge. Because when you're able to do the things that you don't really feel like doing, but you do it anyway, that's where you see consistent performances. That's where you see like improvement in performance. That's where you see that you feel like you're starting to develop.
Can any person at any level in our business, the hotel business that we love so much, hospitality industry, at any level, let's look at hierarchy now. You get the top person in the hotel, the GM, and then you get the deputy GM, and then you get the executive chef, and you get the person who's a junior level teammate or team member in cleaning assistant area or restaurant area serving. Can those people at those junior levels adopt the same mentality? Because you are not a junior staff member. You are not a junior employee. You work hard to get where you are, and you should be proud. So it's taken years of conditioning, special courses, management courses, not taking away anything that is you, the personality from the surf shop, wanting to see those guys happy when they've bought whatever they've bought and they're out there in Musenberg. That's something that you clearly have in you, but not everybody has these things in them. Can a person condition themselves at a junior level to get to this edge that you are talking about?
Most definitely. And I just want to go back on and that will kind of like explain to you how a junior team member can do that. And that is conducive to the environment and the culture that you're working in. And I want to go back to when Mr. Cohen says that titles mean nothing here in this hotel. It is the value that you add to the guest experience. That's how you're going to be judged. So this does one of two things. Firstly, which is the most important one, it levels the playing field. Yeah. From managers to junior staff. Because in essence, the junior staff, the guys in the front line, they are the cash cows They are the ones serving the value. They are the ones serving the offer.
In my meeting,
they are the ones that is making the hotel money.
A day ago, I was saying.
I mean, you have strategy and you have, of course, you can't discount any of that. But it is the frontline staff that are the cash cows. So when you have a leader that is saying, well, whether you, back of house or front of house or serving, checking in or serving coffee, or whether it's a senior manager, what does that mean? It means nothing. No, I wouldn't say it means nothing. Of course, internally we know that this hierarchy.
I understand exactly the point you're trying to make.
It is the principle of leveling the playing field because it empowers the junior staff to also have a profound impact on the guest experience. And everything is like an engine. Every little bolt, every little nut plays its part to make sure that this motor is running.
And empowerment is a very important word to be used here, because if there is a lack of empowerment, then they're not going to be there in front of the customer.
And it's really a genius thing to say. Yeah. And it also takes the ego out of the equation. Yeah. Let's be frank between you and I. Does a guest I'm being completely honest here. Do you think a guest cares who's the front office assistant, guest relations? But they're like, what are you going to do for me?
Exactly.
How are you going to benefit me? I'm staying in this hotel. You walking, through what value are you adding to the guest? So it's not only the perception of what the team thinks about titles. It's also the perception of what a guest perceives about titles. Yeah. We are on the same team. We're vibrating on the same wavelength. We're singing the same song, and you're seeing that continuity, you're seeing that consistency right throughout the departments.
Customers generally walk past us or walk up to us to engage with us at the restaurants, during check-in, during check-out. And I've never heard a customer say, when I walk into the restaurant, I expect to see a general manager or a deputy general manager or a chef concierge. They just walk up, and whoever is there must sort me out. And that's why I always laugh when the staff member says, well, customers are a little bit concerned or unhappy about this. And I said, I'll call a manager. They're like, don't bother. I'm not interested. I personally don't want to speak to any manager when I go to a hotel. I don't want to speak to the fancy, clever person in a suit and so forth. I just want to have an experience, and anybody that's around must deliver that experience through their roles and how they engage with me and the things that they're supposed to be taking care of. I don't really want to be speaking to the big boss and so forth. So you're 100% on the money. And I think it goes back to the conversation we had earlier and the styles of management, making sure that your staff are happy so that they can take care of the guest, because that's just how it works in our industry.
Absolutely. We work in an emotional industry.
Yeah, we're in the business of people.
And it's also an important principle, which is emotional intelligence. Yeah. It is the most important principle in hospitality, especially because we're dealing directly with human beings, with strangers. I want to tell you something, and this might or might not just blow your mind. And I just want you to kind of think about this. There are in the world today 8 billion people in the world. Our mind, you cannot comprehend 8 billion people. It's impossible. I just want you to think about this. You have Ayanda, right? There's no one in the world like you today. You are a unique personality. In the history of mankind, there's never been anyone that's even remotely close to you. And for the rest of the future, up until, what you call it, doomsday, there's not going to be another you. You are absolutely unique. So, our guests are unique. Each and every single guest has different ones, has different needs, they have different life experiences, they have different cultures, different traditions, different religions. So, our approach is not to have a blanket approach to service.
That's when we get it wrong.
And it is important to engage with your guests as an individual. every single one of my guest encounters, every single one of the guest encounters and the service that I provide with my guests is absolutely different because I'm dealing with a unique person.
Do you think we are doing things right in this day and age to train and groom and upskill the upcoming guys? And are they the material? Do they have it? What does the future look like if you just think about that?
Well, I think it's very important for us to just note that it's completely different eras. It's a different world, Ayanda. It's a different society. It's a different world. The dynamic is different. The new era is different. So we have to be different. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of senior managers, they struggle to manage, like the younger professionals. Mm-hmm. We are extremely proud that we work as a hotel. I mean, can't take the credit for that. But we work very closely with all the hotel schools. And I mean, personally, in my department, in the past 2 years, we recruited straight out of hotel school, straight into a job. You graduate, full-time job. Because we mold them into the Saxon way, and we nurture them, and we guide them, and we give them the tools that they need to succeed. But the hospitality industry is a very practical. It's a very practical industry. You we want all your time, all your energy, all your brain power that you can possibly have, so that when you go home, you're completely deflated of everything. That is what the industry requires. So, yes, we love that the students at the moment are the future of the industry. And who are they aspiring to be? Which was a big thing when I was a student.
In question. Who are
you understand? So I do talks at hotel schools, and I engage with the students, and they have to see someone who is thriving and doing well, and is speaking positively about the industry. Yeah. Because if you told a student, well, you're going to work in an industry where you're not going to be off weekends, you're not going to have public holidays, you're not going to have Christmas and New Year, say goodbye. Yeah. And it's a hard sell, to be fair. But I consider myself like a 21st century hotelier, a forward-thinking, trend-setting hotelier. I speak positive about the industry. I want to be a shining light to the industry that you can, invest in a career in hospitality, and you can be successful.
And it's a career that you will be, or can be, or would be proud of.
Exactly.
If you follow the right steps to
100%
to success,
There's a very important topic to address. There is no substitute for hard work. Nothing. I work in a hotel where I see supremely successful, supremely wealthy guests. And it's so fantastic because I see how they walk, how they talk, how they engage, how they make decisions. I see what they do. I see how they engage with the staff, with people in meetings, and it is truly fascinating. And every single one of them will tell you is that there's no shortcuts. And we live in a society today where it's instant gratification. Oh, well, I've got my degree, I want to become the managing director. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So the sooner the younger generation understands that it is through hard work and sacrifice and perseverance and patience, you will get there.
Even if you advance, you still need to start at the bottom and be a waiter for 2-3 years, or be a doorman for 3 years. Is that what we're saying?
I also believe in the principle that if you're good enough, you're old enough. Yeah. And we have to look at Gustav, who is our general manager, who's a young general manager, and he's a testament to that. It's the same like in sports, football. You see, like the 16-year-old guy making his debut because he has the tenacity, he's got the competency to do the job. And it's the same way that we perceive young professionals, that if they're good enough, they're old enough. You can literally walk through and see some of the young supervisors and the young managers that we have here. And it's also very important to give the right impression to the students.
Yeah.
Like they need to see, well, wow, this is a phenomenal industry. And you have to ignite that flame, that fire, they say that fire burning in
fire in the belly.
That's our responsibility as senior managers. And we have to cultivate that passion. We have to cultivate the qualities that they have, and to nurture and coach that to set them up for success.
So it's possible.
Of course it's possible. But life is also circumstantial. It depends where you are. And I speak about how a unique person has a unique personality, and they have their own unique journey in their life. And to be honest with you, this is something that I struggled with when I was young, because all my mates were getting promoted to managers, and I was comparing myself, and I got my head into a mess, and then I had to eventually snap out of it to say, well, I'm on my own journey.
Correct.
And that's helped me so much, because I know that there are, irrespective of whether it's young hospitality professionals, I think there's a lot of people that are suffering with this comparison, comparing themselves to others, and it's getting worse, And I would say that the only maybe advice or just a comment to make on that is that everybody's unique, and everybody's beautiful in their own way, and everybody is on their own journey in their own life, and there's no one else that has your circumstances. So it's the only time I say that you need to have tunnel vision. Focus on your own journey, your own path. It's empowering, And I would say that the future is very bright when it comes to the future of
I believe you, and I think if there's industry leaders like yourself that are identifying students from hotel school, which I do as well, by the way, and it's not always been something that we did in the industry. It's something that's new. We would never 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, take a student and say, we're going to, from your practicals that you did with us, give you a job. I do exactly the same thing these days. Let's go back to this hotel. Valentine's is coming up, and let's get back to the value conversation. So a person that wants to bring a partner here and spoil them, what would you, and we need to have a rating here, Masood. So 1 is, it's an average spoil, and 10, it is in comparison to taking a person to Paris or to the World Cup or buying them a diamond ring. 10 is at that level. 1 is average. What would bringing somebody here as a treat on Valentine's, where would it fit in this 1 to 10 scale?
Well, you can go to Paris. That sounds fantastic, but you can actually spend more money here in one night. So I'll give my rating in the end. Okay. I want to say something. Is that this is the most perfect place for a romantic evening getaway. You arrive in the evening, in the afternoon, whilst you're out for dinner, you do the rose petals, beautiful bouquet of red roses, it's lovely on ice, candles going. And we've learned that overdoing it is not a magic. It's not where the magic is. It's the beauty in the simplicity of arranging a rose petal turned down, dimmed lights, candles, a beautiful dinner. That is 100% a 10 out of 10. 100%. Because
there's timing.
And again, it is the sentimentality. It is the way that someone is feeling, and you can't replicate that. You can't put that on a scale, because if you brought someone here, and we did, the VIP check-in, the in-suite check-in, glass of champagne arrival, or came in and you checked in, had lunch, and relaxed, went to the spa, and you pampered yourself in the spa. Then you come back, you get ready for your dinner, whilst out for dinner, beautiful candlelit dinner, 3-course meal, phenomenal dinner, engaging with the chefs and the staff. Then you come back to this room that is set up so perfectly and so beautifully. Dimmed lights, candles, that is something truly magical. Yeah. Because, again, it's like the value is attached to emotion. It's how we make the guests feel. You can literally go to Paris and have the worst experience ever. So I would say it's a 10 rating.
So if I've paid, I get breakfast, I get a bottle of barley. What is it that's mine? What is it that I'm entitled to, that I enjoy, that I can put in my bag? Can I take a pair of slippers? Can I take the bathroom amenities? Because they are sought after. I know the amenities that you have here. You've changed ranges from time to time. These are the silly things that the public likes to just, have fun and joke about. So just interested to know, what is it that I can take and what should I probably leave as I found it? So that Masood doesn't give me a call or write me an email.
Well, the thing is, like you're renting the hotel room. Yeah. So you take away the memories and your invoice and your receipt. That's it. That's where we draw the line. That's such a great thing. Because I guess
it's true. You can take the slippers and the stuff in the minibar. People are fascinated about hotels, and I just and this is why I do what I'm doing, and this is why I've started doing what I'm doing. And I want to talk to that person because I'm fascinated about their fascination about hotels, and I want to be the guy that says, "Hey, but this is actually how it's done. No, don't worry about that. And this is what you should do actually to have a great experience." Yeah. Speak to Masood if you want to get that table and you thought late of booking. He's going to sort you out. People don't know these things.
100%, and it's very common that people would take amenities.
Yeah.
Because they rent the room from 2 in the afternoon, which is check-in time until 11 a.m. And they certainly want to get their value.
Yeah.
I would say this is the best advice. Just ask.
That's it.
Just ask. I would rather you ask me, say, no, Masood, this fragrance is phenomenal. I would really appreciate if I could take one. What do you think? You know what I'll do? I'll give you a big bottle. Because you have the integrity to ask me. Because our storeroom is full.
And that becomes your random act of kindness for the day.
And it's kind of like the amenities are here for you to enjoy. Like, for example, like if you just open the minibar. Like if you open the minibar, like you can have a headache tomorrow.
Yeah.
But enjoy it. Enjoy it while it's here. Okay, slippers are working. That's that's one thing.
That's what we offer.
I would appreciate it, especially we have the most incredible, most phenomenal executive housekeeper, Maggie. It's like me from Cape Town, and she would say, just ask. Ask and you shall receive.
That's it.
And it will be our pleasure to do it. I hope I don't get lots of phone calls tomorrow. People ask me all sorts of things. Masood, I need conditioner. Masood, I need shampoo.
I already said it before, and I didn't get that many phone calls.
And we will give you like a little gift bag and say thank you for asking, and please do enjoy it.
It's an appreciation of how things work. And that's all it is. The whole Ritz Carlson saying, I can't remember what the guy's name is, that coined we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And the ladies or gentlemen ask and they engage and they show appreciation for things and so forth. And that's all it is. I think that we're asking for.
Your question stimulated another very important. And I think this is very, very important to understand. Now, we know that there are multiple types of guests. Guests will engage with you in savory and unsavory matters. We've both been on the receiving end.
Yes.
So, seeing as though we're addressing the immediately elephant in the room.
I just like to have fun with it because it's such a fun topic, especially when you're observing non-industry people talking about it and having their say and their thoughts. Yeah.
I'm going to be very blunt. If you treat me with kindness and respect, and you're generous in your character, and I'm not talking about tips under the table, I'm talking about that. If you show any hospitality, professional, whether it's a waiter in America or some guy, a housekeeper in Peru, if you show kindness and respect to the people that's working hard to look after you, they will do beautiful things for you.
True.
No, honestly. Because, for example, like for us to give you that extra course, that extra bottle of champagne, that upgrade, if you were nice to me, I can do a lot of things. I think about all the hoteliers in the whole world, in all the most beautiful hotels. Yeah. Imagine, what great things the staff can do for you.
I mean,
and some guests, they really, truly get that.
Yes, they do. And I think some guests get the fact that it's not an industry known for people treating other people very well.
If we are putting our blood, sweat, and tears into the guest experience by showing utter kindness, by showing the greatest form of respect and empathy and warmth and friendliness, the only reciprocation, and I know that I speak for many people in hospitality, is that we just want that reciprocation in return.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when we go home, we are also going home to families and friends and furry friends, and we want to, after we put our blood, sweat, and tears into our business, into making sure that we're giving the guests value, we want to go home with a little bit of dignity, knowing that, for example, I went out on shift today and I made a difference in the guest experience. And you know what? That guest showed me the same respect. That's literally what
I think that's sort of like the minimum.
The minimum standard.
Just going home with some dignity.
And the thing is, I don't want to speak. I'm not addressing this like this is like a pandemic. No.
Of course.
They are,
they're exceptional people out there that come to our doors.
That have changed my life. Truly, majority of our guests are truly special people. And the handwritten notes that they leave you and the emails. I mean, there is not a better industry in the world where you get such incredible job satisfaction. Truly.
And sometimes it's not a compliment, handwritten nice compliment. Sometimes it's a comment of concern. But the way that it's written, one of the episodes that I did on the podcast so far is the art of impactful complaining in the industry. Just knowing how to complain is important, and the impact of complaints. Sometimes, some staff are collateral damage with a sort of unqualified complaint that was maybe not so factual and perhaps malicious. People are collateral damage with operators that are not so savvy in terms of dealing with complaints. You and I, we are fine, but there are some professionals and owners and operators that are not there yet. And the minute a customer complains, take everybody out who's mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. There needs to be a level of responsibility on the customer's part when you are complaining. And it doesn't take much for me, the customer that shakes my day up is the person that calls you from the room, Masood, and says, I woke up at this time and I went to the spa, and this is what happened. And then an hour later, that happened, and so forth. I got frustrated, but I decided I'm going to just see you. And then this happened. And then, I would like 5 minutes of your time so I can explain to you my frustration. Can you meet me downstairs? no screaming, pretty much, actually almost monotone. And that person for me shakes my day up. Speaking calmly, telling me that there is a problem. But if you don't mind, what's your name? Okay, nice to meet you, sir. Can I see you downstairs? You know, we can have a cup of coffee. I'd just like to meet you and just explain to you my experience so far. You obviously comprehend that this person is upset, but the way they say it, as opposed to somebody who picks up the phone and the phone is crackling because they're screaming so loud.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I was trying to sort of shed light to say. There's an art to complaining. You can complain in an impactful way.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things.
You know, it's a very interesting point because Mr. Cohen says this. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Cohen says that whether the guest is right or whether the guest is wrong, we still have a complaint. Just think about that. Whether the guest is right or wrong, the guest is still unhappy, which is something that you have to do.
Correct.
And it's a bitter pill to swallow. But he conceptualizes in what the fundamental of the issue is that you have someone who's in our building who's not happy. And we need to address such a situation.
You need to find the story behind the story.
So it was a tough concept for me to deal with.
How can you tell me that they could be wrong?
And I'm like,
telling me that they still a complaint.
But he's wrong and he said this and he did it. You know, and in his vast experience and in his maturity, like he teaches you what the fundamental issue is that there's someone inside here that is not
find the story behind the story.
What does that do? It takes the emotion out of the complaint, and it makes you look at the complaint objectively, which is important for, of course, you know, like at management level to deal with the complaint. The beauty about complaints is that guests are teaching you your business. You don't have to have analytics. You don't have to have these strategies looking at data. The guest is telling you. My bed is awful.
You need to fix so that I can be happy.
My bathroom is starched, or your food is terrible. Your food.
A simplistic way of
They're literally telling you where to. That's the beauty about where we work in our industry, because they're literally telling you where you need to improve.
Listen, it's said in jest, but it shouldn't be that way. But it's almost like free consultation. We shouldn't have guests telling us what's wrong with our own hotels, of course. But when it does happen, that's maybe a way to look at it. If you're a young, upcoming hospitality person who wants to achieve success, is that if a customer is complaining, it's free consultation. Take it and be thankful.
Yes,
and that's why we actually taught that before anything, you need to thank the customer for bringing the issue to your attention. Then proceed. And I love that.
You know, the more expensive price, the higher the expectation, the less margin is for you. And that's why, and I'm going to put this.
You're now talking about brands like this and other high-end brands and so forth.
You know, to amuse yourself, go into TripAdvisor for Burj Al Arab. The supposed, like obviously 7-star.
Yeah.
Go read the complaint. It is something. It is truly something, because it just shows you. And this is a reality in your personal life. You cannot please everyone all the time. It is a physical, emotional, financial, every facet of it is an impossible. So what is our reality? Our reality is to not eradicate complaints, but to minimize the complaints.
Correct.
It is to make sure that we are keeping as many guests as happy as possible, and the risk assessment is to bring the margin down, to minimize complaints.
But you will never eradicate them
it's
completely,
impossible,
because a 7-star hotel
it's
is
a human being.
cracking it.
We spoke about the different wants, the different needs, the different allergies, the different dietary requirements, the different preferences, different things that they like, the different things that stimulate them. There are so many variables because, as I just mentioned previously, like the human is the most complex thing because the human being is absolutely unique in every aspect of his personality,
and emotions,
enjoys, the emotions. So it's just about minimizing that,
100%.
and of course at management level we deal with that directly.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So, 7-star hotel not cracking it even to this day, because I'll go on actually.
Please,
I want to go and read a few, but I can imagine, and it's such a powerful point that you're making, and it brings me back to what we were talking about earlier, that we're in the business of people. It's not the beds, it's not the pool. You talked about how many pools are in Joburg. People are not coming here for that, really. There's people that come in and don't really spend time experiencing 80% of the facilities that you offer. And I always tell my team as well, when I'm trying to make a point about just customers in the business and trying to just make sure people are inspired daily, is that people have got the best pools in their homes. Some of them have got chefs at their homes. Some of them have got better chandeliers than our hotels, and stucco and marble that is, from Europe and wherever, fancy places where they get these things. They come here for the value, Masood. So we're so aligned in that thinking and those philosophies, because I truly believe that people just want to come in and be made feel a certain way. I'll give you an example with myself in a personal capacity. I become a huge fan of the brand Tasha's. And I'll tell you why. It's not because they serve, a nice apple and toast.
Smashed apple and toast on rye.
Yeah, on rye. and then those freshly squeezed juices, and then all of these things that they do there at Tasha's. There is something about just the people working there, and I think it's got to do with the leader, and I'm sure you've seen her going around every time before she opens the shop, she goes full on with the training of the staff, and she does it, I think, personally, from the social media that I've seen in videos. I believe that's her philosophy. She goes in there, before she opens the thing, she's there with the people, and she goes hard at the training, and I can see why, and I can see the output, the outcome of it. When you go into a Tasha and you have 3 children like I do, 10, 8, and almost 2, right? And some of these guys were born, and then we took them to Tasha's, and they became 10, 8, and 2. Actually, all of them, all 3 of them. And I don't know what the ratio is, but I just always think Tasha's has got more female staff than men. And they are so hearty and just nurturing these women, and they always pick up the child, and it's almost like the child grows up with them. And then when you go there, and there's times where service is a bit slow and they get smacked, whether it's the one at the waterfront or the one at Melrose Arch. We went to the one at Waterfront a lot when we were in Cape Town, and we prefer the one at Melrose Arch here. They get it right all the time, and the longer you stay with them, the more they pick up the child, they come with that ginger biscuit, and the food is amazing. She's consistent, and which is why I think she's successful from a restaurateur perspective. But I think the magic is in the people. So I really like what you just brought up, which is even the 7 stars are not getting it right because we're dealing with people, and people are always waking up with different, sort of in a different state, They go up like this. But I just want to touch on something. So you have 2 keys on either side of your jacket. Just tell me about these keys.
Sure. So I'm a member of the acclaimed, the Society of Golden Keys, which is a fraternity or society of concierges around the world.
Yeah.
And it started in Paris, where business was booming in Paris, and the porters were overwhelmed by all the requests, and they got together And they were like, okay, so busy, all the top hotels, the porters got together, and just in principle, they realized that they're going to work better if they work together. So, to put it into perspective, there's how many 5-star hotels in the world? It's endless. There's less than 4,000 members in the Society of Volunteers in the Greater World. So, something I'm very proud of, because it's a very prestigious society to be a member of, and we as South Africans, we just inducted 4 last year. Nigel at the One and Only, Jessica at the Silo, Kishan at the Oyster Box, and Murchi at the Mount Nelson Hotel. So we're very proud of that, and the society is growing slowly but surely. We have aspirations to be independent, because we still fall under the umbrella of the Great Britain and Commonwealth. Okay. So we have to hit 15 members before we can apply for an independent chapter, which means that we 15 as a minimum. Okay. And of course, meet the necessary statutes.
In the country?
In the country.
So you want to be independent in South Africa?
Exactly. Where, for example,
why is that?
Because all the prospective applicants have to go through Great Britain. And we respect that, they are amazing to us, I attended a congress in Cannes a couple of years ago in France, which was utterly incredible. You really, like 500 and odd people that think the same, that speak the same. We're going to a certain place, a restaurant, and we get to a door. Yeah. It took us like 10 minutes to open, but no, you go. And they're all these gentlemen, and ladies, so we're very like-minded. But I would say it's probably like one of the highlights of my career, because in anything you do, I believe that you need to strive to be the best in anything that you put your mind to. It took me 6 years to get my keys, 5 years as a minimum requirement, which is the criteria to be in a concierge position consecutively. Then, of course, another year of a rigorous application process, because they're not going to give out keys to anybody. They're going to see that you have the capacity, that you have the competency, that you have the right attitude, that you have the mental fortitude to take the concierge as a career. And it certainly springboarded my career. It's something I'm very proud of, because when a guest is walking to me, they know that they're going to get top quality service, because that's one of our statutes, is that they're going to get the very best in service. So it's a very prestigious society to be a part of, and we, although our South African membership is still in its adolescence, we're doing all the groundwork, and we're taking it step by step to hopefully one day become an independent chapter where we can create our own committee, the president, the vice president, the secretary, and having conventions and meetings, and and it's very formal, it's very professional. So since its inception, the Great Britain's been there since the beginning. So every meeting that we attend to is very inspiring, because we see how professional they are. We see how serious they take their careers.
But you learn from them, and you have the confidence that you can form this structure, and have your own independence.
Absolutely, and Rome wasn't built in a day. So we have a long way to go, and we hope to host a global, world congress. I think Cape Town has the perfect setting to host a congress. So we have big dreams, but there's a lot of work to be done. But just, I think, individually, to be a part of the Play-Doh is something truly special. It's really opened so many doors. And I endorse everybody to always strive to be the best in anything that they do. And this transcends career. Me being a concierge has helped me to become a better human being. I think just all of us in hospitality, that's the beauty about hospitality.
The one thing I wanted to touch on, and I don't want to forget, is this transformation and evolution of technology in our industry. and for these purposes of this discussion, let's talk about concierge. I know a lot of brands are going into automated concierges for functional purposes, and we spoke about that. What is your view on automation and technology? Because you hear that there's going to be these automated concierges. What are your thoughts on that?
So we're living in the age of technology, and I understand that. And if you see how much the world has changed in 20 years since the internet, look where the internet started and look where it is today.
Yeah.
It's unimaginable. And the same thing is going to happen with AI. And I feel that a lot of companies, if they don't jump on the AI bandwagon, they are going to be left behind. I said this many years ago, 10 years ago in actual fact, when I was in Cape Town. And I said that in the next 20 to 30 years, hoteliers are going to be one of the most valuable commodities not in the world, but one of the most valuable. And there's a reason for that. Because everything is going to go autonomous. You are not going to be able to engage with a human being. Have you tried to call the bank? You can't. Everything is automated. You're not going to have, all someone wants to do is to be heard. So I believe that I'm perspicacious enough to understand that hoteliers are going to be very valuable commodities and they're going to be paid top dollar for good quality hoteliers. Because the thing is, the reality is that there's no AI that can ever replicate my smile, my charm, my charisma, and my personality.
I don't think so.
And I'm not speaking about me as a professional, or as a human being, or as an individual. I'm talking about hoteliers in general. Because everything is going to go autonomous. Everything. Where you're not going to be able to engage with human, and people are going to pay. Look what people are paying for this. They're already paying top dollar for that quality of service. And where I want to position myself is, I want to position myself in a sense that I am going to be at the forefront of, or to have that vision and to be at the forefront of having that as a niche where the human interaction is getting less and less and less and less and more exclusive, where people are paying.
That's now the product I'm seeking. I'm seeking that human interaction.
Exactly. Yeah. They're going to pay for that. It's the microchip and the heart.
Yeah.
That's what we're working with, because we are taking for granted the human interaction that we have at our disposal today.
Yeah.
Where in the next 20 or 30 years, everything's going to be robotics, everything's going to be autonomous, everything's going to be AI, that people are going to be craving for that human interaction. And this is where I'm saying, where perspicacious, where I have the foresight to know that human interaction in the future is going to come at a premium. People ask me, for example, what is the Saxon? What is the Saxon sound? What is the USP? And this is just my personal observation. In a world that is under the Microsoft net, so to speak, everybody knows on social media where you are, where you're checking in, what holidays, destinations you go to, which restaurants, everything is out there. When you're walking down the streets of London, you have thousands of CCTV. They see which street you're walking with. Everything is in the limelight. Now, when you arrive at the Saxon, we sell two experiences. We sell exclusivity and we sell privacy. Where people can relax and be themselves and don't feel like they're being watched, or they can just let go.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for that little moment in their lives. Now, in addition to human interaction, which is going to come at a premium, privacy and exclusivity is also going to be the future of where people are going to pay top dollar.
Let's get back to the Hospitality Suite podcast. It's all about helping people live their best hotel life. So maybe tell me, in your personal capacity, what is a day well spent and what is living your best hotel life? I'm talking about you now as a person in a hotel or checking into a hotel or thinking of booking a hotel, how do you go about living your best hotel life? What do you do?
Well, I don't know if you're going to like my answer.
It's your version of living the best hotel life. Me is a bottle of bubbly.
Yeah.
Every time, somewhere, in wherever I am at the hotel, it's a comfortable bed. It's being able to have a good room service experience.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, now I understand what you're saying.
Because you should. Ideally, in my view, always go to the restaurant.
Absolutely.
If you must have room service, have room service.
Yeah.
But, it's sometimes something I want to do if I've got my kids and they're noisy and I don't have to grab them running around and disturbing other customers and have a good room service experience. The food gets there, it's hot, and everything is laid out, there's linen. I still feel like I've got my own little mini restaurant and that's living my best hotel life. Checking out late is living my best hotel life. What is yours?
So I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have 2 daughters. So living my best hotel life is definitely going to be it revolves around my family and my kids. So I would say like a resort, lots of activities, pools, slides, all the activities. There has to be great food. I'm the cook at home, so I cook most days of the week. So there has to be fantastic food. I love breakfast buffets. Yeah. I want to see everything differently. I want to pick of everything from cheese to and I love variety.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm eating. I would prefer like for a restaurant, like a tapas style restaurant. Because I want to order like 14 dishes and just like pick off all the different seafoods and meats, and I love that style of cooking. To be honest with you, when it comes to a big plush bed, bath, like a shower.
Are you a bubble bath and
bubble
salts?
Bubble bath and salts, definitely. A huge shower head.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like running up to the water have you seen that shower?
I know.
You have to like catch all the water drops.
Yeah.
I want it like to rain on me, like like those huge shower heads. I like that. Big like plush like bathrobes, beautiful views. When if I stay in a hotel, especially if I'm going to the island, I always stay on the west side of the island so I can get the sunset.
Yeah.
So sunsets are very important to me because obviously working at the Saxon Hotel, every day was a magical experience because every day I would experience different sunset. And that's kind of like living my best hotel life. Great food, amazing sweets, and
kids are
being with my
activities.
Like when they have those like beach clubs and mom and dad can do their own thing and there's all the kids doing all sorts of treasure hunts and activities and that's so good.
No, I feel you.
And I'll tell you the flip side of the coin.
Yeah.
I don't really like saying that.
Don't you?
I don't.
Why is that?
I don't. I prefer like self-care. Truly. Because it doesn't matter which hotel. There's a lobby, there's a reception, there's a this, there's a that. It reminds me way too much about it.
Yeah.
So I do also try and look, it's a personal thing.
That's interesting. That I never feel that way. Especially if I'm not at my own hotel.
Yeah. Because I guess it's hard to like switch off.
Yeah, you do.
Do you know what I mean?
Look at what
exactly. I feel like a musician, and I don't want to put myself through that.
Yeah, okay.
So
I see what
do you understand? Like a resort is kind of like different because I guess it's just kind of like a holiday destination,
and it's like else.
Exactly.
You cook your own food. The stove is
exactly.
there.
And I love cooking. Cooking is like probably like one of my most favorite things to do. Which is not really why my wife married me. But honestly, I prefer self-like, because it just kind of feels like a holiday. It doesn't feel like work. I already live at work. I live in, listen, I already like work / live in a
No, I still find enjoyment, but just, I know the distractions you talk about.
No.
Something pops up and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that.
No, and I don't wanna like just mentally, I don't wanna be like in that space. And again, like some hoteliers like love living in staying in hotels.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to like the Maldives, it's like that's different. It's different because it's like a resorty.
Yeah.
And I'm talking maybe like about like city hotels.
In Joburg, which is where you live. There's nothing wrong with Joburg, but you live here.
I must tell you though,
that
it's a calm stay. I don't mind.
Hotel when last they paid for a room.
No.
You'll be waiting for a while.
Exactly. So that's kind of that's living my best hotel.
No, amazing. I mean, I get the breakfast. My wife is very much like you. For her, breakfast spread is a must because I don't have to, do anything. My wife is the type that will sit at the restaurant until it closes, and then we don't have to do anything else for the rest of the day. She's a very big breakfast type of person, and the kids enjoy it as well. So, good, 100%. Anything that you just feel passionate about saying in line with our discussion today: hospitality, hotels, the chef concierge profession, upcoming young individuals that are looking up to you, and the future of hotels and hospitality, your vision, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. I'm just interested, before we check out.
I think you and I share like the same experiences, just in terms of like it's more than 15 years. And I don't want to sound cliche, but it's important to never give up with that. And this goes beyond hospitality, goes beyond hotels. Never stop.
Yeah.
Even if you have to take a breather, even if you feel that you're going a little bit slower, just don't stop. And there's a reason for that, because the reality of maturing is realizing that your dreams are diminishing.
Yeah.
Because you start, instead of looking at life as a fantasy, you start looking at life in reality.
Yeah.
And I experienced something recently that changed my worldview, because I was in London in October, and I went to see one of my favorite bands, and it took me 21 years to see them. And
which band is this?
It's Blink-182 in October at the O2 Arena.
Okay.
It took me 20. I'll be 40 this year.
Yeah.
Well, 40 I was going to go to Blink-182 now. They played in London, I think 5-10 years ago. And my heart was broken because I knew I really wanted to go there. And there was a reason why I went to that concert. But it was more than just listening to music. It was never give up on your dreams. Never. It's the only thing that you have, And what we're doing, like I mentioned earlier, is far greater than ourselves. Yeah. And the sooner you realize how much, how many lives I've impacted in my career, and it is truly unbelievable.
We probably
the amount of positivity that you've sent out into the world through your kindness and your professional service is truly something that must not be underestimated.
I think the more you mature, the more you start thinking about
exactly. No, absolutely. In my 20s and my 30s was a blur.
I just turned 40 last year. I'm turning 41 now in May. Yeah. So this is when you start,
Now I view the world completely differently. Yeah. And
I'm glad
there is
fulfill your dream 21 years later.
No, absolutely, and it gave me a renewed sense of hope and purpose. I also believe that it's everyone's responsibility to find their purpose in life. You have to live life with a purpose. You have to know that there is something that's greater than you. Like, for example, our kids. I can't have an off day. I can't. I simply can't. I have they're 4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Yeah.
No.
I have responsibilities. Like I have these 2 children and that their entire existence depends on me. So like it gives me purpose. It gives me direction. It keeps that fire burning inside. Because everybody has positive and not so positive days. And it's through the difficulty and sometimes we're feeling like hopeless that you realize, you look at your kids and you're like, no, Dad cannot give up. Dad has to push on and Dad has to keep working hard and, because again, like, what I'm doing in my job and in my career, it's much more important than who I am, And there's, for people, there's a lot of people suffering in the world and, but there's endless inspiration. There's inspiration everywhere around you. And I think, like, especially for you as a child, for your parents, there's no greater honor than making your parents proud. And it's not about your money, it's not about your fame, it's about your parents being proud of who they raised you up to be. And that's certainly something that fuels that fire.
No, true.
So there's endless motivation, there's endless inspiration all around you. All you have to do is change your perception. And I just like to end with this. I am who I am because of discipline. I only feel motivated 20% of the time. The rest of it is discipline. I do the things that I need to do, not because I don't feel like doing it. I do it anyway.
Made an agreement with yourself that certain things need to be done.
Definitely. Yeah. And if people realize this from a younger age, they are going to skyrocket through life and truly achieve like incredible things in their life. Because I think a lot of the suffering and a lot of the shortcomings and a lot of the reason why people are not feeling as great as they can be feeling is because of ill discipline.
I'll do it when I feel like it.
Yeah.
But actually, it needs to be done now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
an amazing story. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing your time.
No, it's such a pleasure, and
and this is at least I would like it not to be the last time.
Yeah,
we chat.
But I think what you're doing is truly incredible. And I wish you every success in your podcast because you are giving us hoteliers a chance to really look at the flip side of the coin. We're the other side of TripAdvisor. Yes, they're like the flip side of TripAdvisor. On TripAdvisor, you see all the guest comments and all the things that they have to say. So I appreciate that you're giving us hoteliers like a platform of voice. Like I think we've engaged in so many topics and discussions, and I'm sure if you look back at this, there's so many little nuggets that you can extract that can.
And there's plenty we didn't talk about that we could have shared and it would have added so much value. And this is why I'm saying we need to chat again.
No, man, I appreciate it. So, thank you for your time.